Almost everyone saves up for the down payment, and then closing day arrives and there's a second bill waiting that nobody warned them about. So today, let's actually add it up. What does it really cost to buy your first home, all in, here in Alberta? I'm Nathan Richter, a licensed real estate agent serving St. Albert and the greater Edmonton area. I've spent 25 years on the construction side of real estate, custom home building, renovations, and I'm currently running a restoration company that handles new home warranty work and condo restoration. So when I walk you through the buying process, I'm bringing both the agent's lens and the builder's eye to the conversation. Let's get into it. So if you've watched my first time buyer guide, you know the 9 steps from getting ready to getting the keys. This video zooms in on the one part everybody worries about the most, the money. I'm going to walk you through every cost, the down payment, the insurance, the deposit, the closing costs, and the ones people never see coming. And then some genuinely good news, because Alberta is actually one of the cheaper places in the country to close on a new home. One note before we start, I'm going to give you real numbers, but they're typical ranges, and your situation will be a little different. So use this to build your budget and confirm the exact figures with your mortgage broker and your real estate lawyer. Let's start with the big one, the down payment. In Canada, the minimum down payment on a home you're going to live in works in tiers. It is 5% on the first $500,000 of the price, then 10% on any portion between $500,000 and $1.5 million. And if the home is over $1.5 million, you need 20%. So on a $500,000 home, the minimum is $25,000. On a $600,000 home, it is $25,000 on the first 500 plus 10% of the next 100,000. So 35,000 total. 2 things that genuinely help first-time buyers right now: the cap for an insured mortgage, that is a mortgage with less than 20% down, was raised to $1.5 million. And as a first-time buyer, you can now take a 30-year amortization on any home, new or resale, which lowers your monthly payment. So the door is open wider than it was a couple of years ago. Now, if you put down less than 20%, you're required to carry mortgage default insurance. You have probably heard it called CMHC insurance, though there are 3 providers. This protects the lender, not you, but it is what lets you buy with a smaller down payment. So it is the trade-off that makes low down payment buying possible. The premium depends on how much you put down. Roughly speaking, at 5% down, it is about 4% of your mortgage, and it comes down from there as your down payment goes up to around 2.8% at 15% down. The good news is that this premium gets added onto your mortgage, so you're not writing a check for it at closing. And here is a real Alberta advantage. In several provinces, you have to pay provincial sales tax on that insurance premium in cash upfront. Alberta does not charge it. So that is one more closing day cost that buyers in some other provinces have, and you do not. Here's one that catches people on timing: the deposit. When your offer is accepted, you usually have just a few days to come up with that deposit. This is not an extra cost. It gets credited toward your down payment later, but it is cash you need available early, often within a week of your offer being accepted. So you cannot have all of your money locked up where you cannot reach it. So when you're getting ready to buy, make sure your deposit is sitting somewhere you can actually move it quickly. I've seen strong offers get stressful simply because the money was tied up and the clock was ticking. Now the part nobody warns you about, the closing costs. These are the costs on top of your down payment. And as a rule of thumb, you want to budget a few percent of the purchase price for them. So let me break them down. First, again, the good news that makes Alberta cheaper than a lot of the country: we have no land transfer tax. In Ontario or BC, a buyer can pay many thousands of dollars in land transfer tax alone. Here, you do not pay that at all. What you do pay are land title registration fees. The formula is about $50 plus $5 for every $5,000 of value. You pay it once on registering the property in your name and once on registering your mortgage. On a typical home, that comes out to roughly $1,000 for 2 of them together, still a fraction of the land transfer tax buyers face in provinces like Ontario and BC. Then your legal fees. Your real estate lawyer handles the closing, the title, and the funds, and that usually runs somewhere around $1,200 to $2,000 once you include their disbursements, the small searches, and registration costs they pass along. A home inspection, which I always recommend, is usually around $400 to $600. If your lender requires an appraisal, that is often in the $300 to $500 range, though sometimes a lender, and most of the time actually, it covers it. Title insurance, which protects you against title fraud and registration errors, is usually a couple $100 up to about $600. And then a few smaller ones to keep on your radar: adjustments, where you reimburse the seller for things like property taxes they have already paid past their possession date, and home insurance, which you need in place before the lender will close. None of these are huge on their own, but together they are the second bill, and now you've seen it coming. Quick aside, I put every one of these costs into a simple one-page checklist, the true cost of buying your first home, with the typical range for each line so you can build a realistic budget. If you want it, send me the word cost through any of the contact options in the description, text, email, or call, and I'll send it over. Helping people get a clear picture before they buy is part of what I do, so I'm happy to help you get it. Now let's end on the good news, because it's not all costs. If you're buying a brand new home, you will see GST on the price. But as a first-time buyer, you may get most or all of that back through the new first-time buyer's GST rebate, which can be worth up to $50,000 on a qualifying new home. I have a whole video on that one, so check it out if a new build is on your radar. For the down payment itself, there are two big tools built for this. The first home savings account, the FHSA, lets you save for your first home with the tax deduction going in and no tax coming out. The RRSP home buyer's plan lets you borrow from your own RRSP for the down payment. Used together, they can get you to that down payment faster than people think. Your mortgage broker and an accountant can help you line those up. And step back and remember the Alberta picture. No land transfer tax, no PST on your mortgage insurance, and registration fees that are a few $100s instead of many thousands. Closing on a home here genuinely costs less than it does in most of the country. So that is the real all-in cost of buying your first home: the down payment, the mortgage insurance if you're under 20%, the deposit you need ready early, the closing cost, and the tools that help you get there. Add them up before you start shopping, and closing day has no surprises. If you want someone who will walk you through your actual numbers before you commit to anything, that is a big part of what I do for first-time buyers. Reach out again by text, email, or give me a call. The information is in the description. If this video helped, give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We put out new videos every week. And comment or message cost if you want that checklist. We'll see you in the next one.